pod bay doors, please, Hal.
You're staring at my fingers. Would you like me to tell you the little story of right hand, left hand? The story of good and evil? H-A-T-E. It was with this left hand that old brother Cain struck the blow that laid his brother low. L-O-V-E. You see these fingers, dear hearts? These fingers has veins that run straight to the soul of man. The right hand, friends, the hand of love. Now watch and I'll show you the story of life. These fingers, dear hearts, is always a warring and a tugging, one against the other. Now watch 'em. Old brother left hand hates a fighting, and it looks like love's a goner. But wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hot dog loves a winning. Yes, sirree. It's love that won, and old left hand hate is down for the count.
I never heard it better told.
The pod bay doors are open. Thank you very much for joining us once again. I'm your host, film critic and film historian for TalkMovieToMe.com, Doug Heller. Here, as always, leaning on the everlasting arms, Jerry Dean Roberts, film critic for ArmchairCinema.com, ArmchairOscars.com, and OverThinkingOscars.wordpress.com. Jer, how you doing?
Children.
You need to drop your voice about 12 octaves before that gets really menacing.
I would have to smoke about 9 packs of cigarettes. 9 cartons of cigarettes.
Children.
Children.
Oh, we're talking about Night of the Hunter because it ends on Christmas, and I think the father steals the money at the beginning on Christmas, so it takes like a year.
Yeah.
Because
Stolen by Peter Graves.
Yeah. Yep. Unbiography.
Unbiography.
I adore this movie, and I was so happy that it was that I could twist it into being a Christmas movie, because I've been wanting to talk about this for ages.
Well, hell, I twisted JFK into a Christmas movie.
Yeah, well, that was an anniversary. You could get away with that. This is
I can get away with that.
You know. I always want to do, because we do Turkey Month, we can't do the other thing that I would want to do in November, which is Noirvember. So I'm trying to find stuff around it, and I found, I was just searching for Christmas noir and anything like that, and I found Night of the Hunter, Charles Laughton's only directorial effort.
Broke his heart because it was a financial and commercial critical failure. The public was indifferent to it. Critics didn't like it. Critics didn't understand it.
It is one of the best movies.
And yet has had a long afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those movies that people love it when they see it, but filmmakers make films about how it inspired them.
Yeah.
Just...
I also wish to note that no one has ever remade it.
No, yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Bogdanovich was inspired by it.
Mm-hmm.
Guillermo del Toro was inspired by it. Spike Lee was inspired by it. If you've seen Do the Right Thing, you know
and you
exactly
can see
where.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Filmmakers love this film, and it's very unusual because it stars Robert Mitchum, who never played anything like this before or after. Robert Mitchum was always a very interior actor. This is the first time this is probably the only time you'll ever see him acting outside of himself,
mm-hmm.
and really playing a character. The problem with Robert Mitchum is he tended to be so normal and so laconic that nobody ever really thought he was acting.
Right, but he was actually a dynamic actor.
But the other problem was that he had such a weird off-putting personal life,
yeah,
that people tended to stay away from him. he was kind of an agitator when he went to when Robert Osborne was trying to interview him. Before they did the interview, he would just tell stories and he was talking about his craft and all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as they turned the camera on, he wouldn't talk. Yes. Uh huh. Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But as soon as they turned the camera off, he'd start telling stories again.
That's the kind of curmudgeon I like.
Yeah.
He's,
That's why you have a second camera on that he doesn't know about.
yeah.
But
So the one thing that I've always found dazzling about this on a filmmaking level, when you watch this, it's entirely on a soundstage.
mhm.
And I love the way that he uses the sky and just kind of blanks it out. There's not really any stars, there's not really any sun, there's not really any anything. It's just this very artificial, weird, in another dimension kind of a glow.
And these weird, because basically the story is someone remembering this.
Right.
It's a child's remembrance of what happened.
That's an adult's remembrance of something that happened a long time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, but it takes on the template
Mhm.
of a child's fairy tale.
Yeah.
When things look too big, things look too artificial. When they're going down the river
Mhm.
and they're running away, the kids are running away from him. There's a spider web that looks like string.
Mhm.
There's an owl that just looks way too big. It just doesn't. It looks artificial. I think that's what a lot of critics at the time just didn't really grab onto.
Right, but the reality of it is he was using that in a kind of a German expressionist kind of a way.
Right, German expressionist way. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Really, really pulling in these obvious fake settings and everything,
Mhm.
but these children you feel are in real danger.
They are.
And it was a very bold kind of a movie. You didn't get movies with a guy trying to kill children like every
No.
day back in
Or a guy
1955.
or a guy who sweet talks his way into he talk threatens his way into marrying Shelley Winters.
Yeah.
That wedding night scene is just uncomfortable
Oh yeah.
with those weird high ceilings and
Yeah.
that and she's so nervous and so jittery and it's like and then what ultimately happens to her is one of the scariest shots I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
It's when she's sitting behind the wheel of her car at the bottom of the river
Yeah.
and just her hair is
Yeah.
just
Yeah. It's chilling. It's
it's
chilling.
unsettling.
It is. And it's really fascinating that this movie and Monsieur Verdoux
Mhm.
came out around the same time.
Mhm.
Monsieur
Monsieur
Verdoux
Verdoux was based on a real case.
right, but that one is cute and funny, and you kind of don't mind that he murders women for their money.
He's a bluebeard. He
Yeah.
marries women and murders them.
Robert Mitchum in this is not as personable.
Right. But he's seductive.
Right, and I love that he doesn't understand how contradictory he is.
Well,
Like the Lord
here's the
is
thing.
telling him to murder uh, uh, widows because, I mean, he has a serious thing against women.
He has a serious thing against loose women. in particular.
Yeah.
Um, because there's that scene where he's sitting in the strip joint and it's just like got that just disdain on his face,
Mm-hmm.
and he moves into this small town where this small town, southern town, where he um you know that the Bible and their religious leanings are always at the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they do is based around their religious faith.
Where is this set? Because at some point they say, "Oh, he might be downriver as far as Cleveland or something," and I'm like, "Are they that high up the Ohio?"
I don't think so. I think it's just a made up town. That's what I got.
It right.
I just
It
got some.
feels like it should be in the South because
Yeah,
but then it snows at Christmas or I don't know.
but he moves into this town, and of course these people are so baked into their religious faith. When they see a parson come along or they see a minister come along, they automatically believe, well, this man has to be a good soul
Mm-hmm.
because he's a man of God.
Right.
That's the most contradictory thing, is that he's a man of God, but he's his soul is just rotten. Um, and he goes. Did they ever mention what he went to jail for? Because he's in jail and he's got a cell with Peter Graves.
Um. Well, it probably wasn't murder.
No,
I'm not
because
really sure.
he was released
Probably theft of some kind.
and obviously managed to sweet talk his way into a parole because
Right.
he got out. Because they execute the father. Did they execute the father for stealing money?
10 grand. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
must be in Texas. Uh, but $10,000
Yep.
he has hidden around his place. So he moves into this town and he's always singing this song. Leaning, leaning.
Leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms, leaning,
That's as creepy as
leaning.
that's as creepy as what's his name in M.
Yeah.
Uh, Peter Lorre whistling.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
It
but
is. It is.
it's
And I
fascinating.
kind of feel like Charles Lawton pulled from M a little bit
Maybe
in
pulled from
this.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Um, because there are other things noticeable
Mhm.
from M in this. This was based on a book, wasn't it?
Well, it was, and it was by a guy named James Agee, who was a raging alcoholic,
Yeah.
and he was at the
Yeah.
final stage. I think he died the year that this was made. And but the script that they got, they pulled it 8 ways from Sunday once he was gone because the script made no sense. I mean, it was written by you know it was written by a man who was drunk all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and so they rewrote it.
Oh,
Nobody knows who no nobody knows who really rewrote it. They think Charles Lawton and Elsa Lanchester worked on it.
mm. The novel was by Davis Grubb. The first screenplay was James A.G.
Right.
And yeah,
Yeah. James Agee had a sad life.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but it's really too bad that Lawton never got to direct again.
Very, very
Either he
sad.
didn't direct again or he didn't want to, but because I mean, it shows these angles in this film, the shadows that seem unnatural. Lillian Gish sitting on her front porch,
Oh, and
just in
isn't that
silhouette.
Lillian Gish's best talkie performance? Oh,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and yet I didn't expect Lillian Gish to come into this. Was hey,
yeah,
and not only to come into the movie, but to give a really good performance.
really wonderful performance in a
She's the angel to his devil.
yeah, she is. Oh, Angel with a shotgun. Ooh,
Yeah.
I liked that. Oh,
Granny with a shotgun. Yeah.
yeah. It's like, and he's not my father, and he ain't no preacher neither.
Yeah.
Get in the house.
Yeah.
Oof. Now,
I
see, Ruth
love that.
Gordon, that's how you do it.
That's how you do it. I was just thinking the same thing. This is the movie I use also for the case for black and white
Mm.
because you couldn't make this in
Oh,
color.
if this were in color, it would be awful.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be as terrifying. I know that.
Because there's an irreality just to everything. Just the settings, the landscapes. There's an owl that doesn't look right. There's a spider web that doesn't look right.
Yeah.
There's an angle where he's standing down at the bottom of the staircase
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't look right. And just
It's just
um
amazing the way he shoots it. That um, he very much does it in a way that would have pleased Bertolt Brecht.
yeah.
Um, you definitely know that it's a movie while you're watching it.
Mhm,
Like it's very self-referential because of the spider web, the owl, the
mhm.
the clear fake trees, and the way that house is silhouette so picturesquely behind, with the
Yeah.
dull glow behind it. That's obviously not a sun, but what else
Yeah.
could it be? Uh,
Hmm.
he did that to let people get into the notion that it was a horror fantasy.
Hmm.
And stuff like that had only really been achieved and successfully done a handful of times.
Hmm.
Um, at this, at
Usually not
like,
in American films though.
right? No. The the only American film I can think of that gets close to using sets in the way that Lawton did is Wells's Macbeth from
Mhm.
'48. He did
Right.
the same thing. He was very close friends with Lawton, so I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled a few ideas and a few tricks from his friend
Right.
Mr. Wells. Uh,
Mhm.
but
And I.
it's it's such a high concept
Mhm.
that in 1955 maybe they just weren't ready for the concept.
Mhm.
Maybe very ahead of its time. Um,
Well, if you're watching this through American eyes and you're used to the three act structure, you're used to realistic settings, you're used to all of the tenets that have been established by, Orson Welles,
mm-hmm.
you know, the great filmmakers.
This would be a nightmare to watch.
This would be a nightmare to watch because you don't really know what you're looking at. You're thinking that the filmmakers have screwed up and didn't know what they were doing.
Right.
It's an artistic choice because you're sitting there and you're watching a story that's being remembered back.
Mm-hmm.
No one had ever done that. And also adding things to the film that seemed taboo. A man who claims to be a preacher is a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
A man murders his wife,
A wife?
marries a woman, murders a woman, marries a woman in order to murder her,
Mm-hmm.
and
Not only
is
that, but
pursuing children.
he's pursuing children with the intent, like he doesn't really care if he kills them or not.
He's going to kill these
Yeah,
children
and
and pulls a knife on these children.
yes, uh, and also has a woman who likes sex.
Hmm.
Oh
And isn't
no!
standing on a street corner.
Right. She's
Yeah.
respectable. She's just horny. And I'm like,
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Hmm.
But in 1955, well, women aren't supposed to like it like that. Why not?
They're human
Just
beings.
just because you haven't had it good doesn't mean nobody has. That's what I always assumed. I always assumed that at that point in history, women just didn't know that they could have worked
Yeah,
because they just
they've been
nobody
shamed out of it.
right, or the people that they were with just weren't any good.
Mm.
Like,
Or we're just so predatory and creepy,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Um,
And by the way, that strip club is just so scummy and just ugh. The music is just ugh.
they're as far as scummy strip clubs and movies go, this one actually is pretty much on the
Yeah,
lower rung. This is like that terrible strip club in Hobgoblins, or
yeah. Or like that creepy little, or that like that creepy little club that Don Burgess goes into in Advising Consent,
mm-hmm,
where it's just made to it's an underground gay club, and it's just made to look scummy and just
mm-hmm.
ugh. You
Yeah,
can present anything on the screen any way you want it,
right.
and because you can go into a strip club, it can be a pretty nice place.
I
It's just women taking their
suppose.
clothes off.
Yeah. Well, I've
You know
been
what
to
I'm saying?
precious
But you
few,
know what
but
I
I'm
mean.
I'm sure there's probably a couple good ones. I've been to precious few, and all of the ones that I've ever been to, the two or three that I have been to, let's just say I wouldn't order anything but alcohol there because I know that that's the only thing that's not going to kill me.
Yeah, and you're not ordering clam chowder.
Yeah, you're not going to the buffet in these,
Yes. Yeah, stay away from the buffet.
don't order food. I don't get. And the worst thing to have at a strip club would probably be crabs.
Yes.
The top of my head.
I say
Um,
clam chowder. New England clam chowder.
I don't know. Some people are
But
going
I'm
after
sure
the
there's
clam
some
chowder at
place.
a.
Look, I'm sure there's some place, some club like in Las Vegas or something that's not as scummy as others. But I
You
mean, I
you
don't
picked
know.
Las Vegas to pick a non-crummy place to be.
I don't know.
Come on, man.
Hey, Las Vegas has turned into a family town. It's a tourist trap.
Just significant parts of it, yeah.
Yeah.
There's still hovels.
Hmm.
Don't let the negative propaganda fool you. There are still very very much some seedy underbelly crap going on in
Yeah.
Las Vegas.
I could just say I never really got to frequent strip clubs. I think I went to one for my bachelor party, and that was it.
Yeah, I was taken to one at my bachelor party, and I think I went to two others at two other bachelor parties. That was about the extent
Yeah.
of. I just don't like them. They're just gross. I have a germ thing, and
Yeah.
those places are not for people like me. Um,
No.
but if I want to see something like that, I'll watch it on television. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna,
Got the internet.
yeah.
You know.
I mean, it was, yeah, yeah. I don't need to be around a whole bunch of horny guys with women that you
Oh,
can't
I'll tell
touch.
you.
That, ugh.
I tell you what. I tell you, you really want to feel scummy. Go into a sex shop. The place can be clean
You
as
could
a
have just
whistle,
you
and
could have just stopped right there. It is just
you know the place can be as clean as a whistle, and still feel scummy and yeah. There's just this air about it. It's like you
yeah.
feel like you shouldn't be here. You
That's
know,
American Puritanism at its finest.
I'm telling you, the antithesis of our puritanical forefathers.
Yeah.
This is what they came across the prairies for.
Is
So we
it?
could have a glass case full of designer dildos. You know?
Whatever spurs progress, my friend. Whatever spurs progress.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, yeah,
but like this.
kind of laid out in the case like watches.
Hey, can I try that one on? Nah, that was too big. It doesn't
What can you
fit.
tell me? What can you tell me about this? Not much.
Its story has not yet been told. But I love this picture because of how different it is.
You can try to get back to the movie.
I'm
I like
trying,
that.
I'm trying to pull us back. It's you know.
Like when we talked about JFK, and you get into get into current politics, and I'm trying to pull you
Yeah,
back
yeah,
to the
yeah, yeah,
movie.
yeah, 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 yeah. That was a long leash that didn't really tighten up.
Right, right.
Which I apologize for. But I love this as a Christmas movie, and I think I'm going to make this an annual Christmas movie
Your annual Christmas.
for one
You're
of
gonna
them.
add it to
I'm
the.
gonna add it to the
Yeah.
list. You know,
I have a box of among my Christmas decorations of just Christmas movies. And like It's a Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street, Die Hard. You know, Home Alone. All of. I might add it. I might add Night of the Hunter to this.
I think yeah, my Christmas viewing, I like to hit specific movies every year. I don't always. Um, but this year I'm actually going to make a list.
Mm-hmm.
So, standards, Christmas Story, It's a Wonderful
Yeah.
Life, Miracle on 34th Street, like you said, Christmas Carol, Alistair Sim, the
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Vacation, maybe, a few of those, and Fanny and Alexander, and Night of the Hunter, and Die Hard, Eyes Wide Shut.
Storm of the Drip Blood.
Yeah.
Storm of the Drip Blood, which claims to be a movie that takes place on Christmas, and I think it might have some tinsel in the background at one point.
I think I saw a Christmas tree, but I think they're closing up for Christmas break. I think is about the best you can really get.
And there's one woman that says, "Merry Christmas, Brad." I think that's about it.
I think I'm going to end up watching. Do you have anything more on Night of the Hunter?
Not really.
I don't think so either.
It's such a visual experience.
It is.
Mitchum is so good in it.
Gorgeous, gorgeous film, and two-time Oscar winner Shelley Winters. She's the only person. She's what one of two people that has more than one supporting actor Oscar.
She has two.
She had two.
She has two.
Diane Wiest has two.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't Walter Brennan win 3?
Yeah.
And
I don't think there's anybody else.
I don't think so. I think they're the only two that have won 2. Well, Michael Caine.
Multiple people have been nominated.
Oh yeah, Michael Caine has 2
like
supporting.
Kathy Bates.
Yeah. Michael Caine has 2 supporting. For
one of which he deserved.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I didn't like the Cider House.
I know you didn't. Hey, listen, at least I gave you one Lasse Hallström movie to enjoy.
Yeah.
It's the only one I like too. So next time we are doing your holiday 4-pack as our tradition, but we're doing some weird ass horror movies. I have finally watched these. Wow.
We are talking about To All a Good Night and The Dorm That Dripped Blood, which basically is the same movie.
Same movie. It's the same.
We're also talking about a weird movie called Who Slew Auntie Roo, which I kind of love.
We'll talk about it. And then 2015's Krampus, which wound up being my favorite of the bunch. I can't believe how much I enjoyed this movie.
I'm gonna have to watch this again because this was a movie I had not seen yet. And when I picked it, I thought, okay, well, I'll pick one that neither of us have seen. And I'm having mixed feelings about it. I'm gonna watch it again, but I'm having mixed feelings about it.
I adored every friggin' minute of it. I can't explain why. It's not really well put together. I just loved the concept. I loved the acting. Uh, the people in it are glorious, and I was watching it.
Feeling. Go ahead.
There's a part. Toni Collette's in it, and she gets these Christmas lights wrapped around her neck, and she's getting choked by them. And all of a sudden, the only thing I could see was that scene from Hereditary. She's sawing off her own head.
Yeah.
I'm like, this would make a very truly horrifying double bill with Hereditary. I think.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a weird
I-
juxtaposition, but it's...
The horror for me was trying to give some holiday joy to people who do not appreciate it.
yeah.
Inviting relatives over who do not understand or care about the concept that you are trying to give them a holiday that's fun and it's got things they're not normally familiar with,
It's a
and they've
horror
never heard
version
of creme brulee,
yeah,
and
it's a horror version of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and I think that's what I love most about it. Nobody's
they're
in the
sneering
mood.
at they're sneering at your creme brulee. They're feeding your Gravlax to the dog, and it's just aggravating. The first 10 minutes of this movie are kind of brilliant.
I really I enjoyed it a lot. I'll probably watch it again. Um,
That's
but
what
yeah,
we got next
that's
time.
what we have coming up, and then goodness gracious, and
After
then it's the
that,
new year.
After that, we've got our special show in which we're going to talk about the movies of 2021, the films that we've seen, what we've seen this year, which not a whole lot,
No,
not a whole lot.
no.
Um,
You don't really
but
get
we've
to
seen.
see a whole lot when you're like me and you haven't been in a movie theater since March of 2020 because, death and all.
Well, I haven't. I think the only thing I saw this year was I saw Black Widow, the new James Bond picture, in a theater. And then I'm going to go see Spider-Man on Christmas Day.
I went to the drive-in to see Spider-Man.
Mm.
I had to see it, and I just saw it like opening weekend.
Hope you had a good heater,
Oh yeah, we were in the car. It's good. It's good.
because you live in Pennsylvania. It's
Uh-huh.
it's cold up there.
Yeah, it's not warm, but it's really nice to sit there in the winter because they don't make you turn
Yeah.
your car off.
Yeah.
I enjoy that experience at the drive-in quite a bit. So that's what we have coming up. We'll let you know what we have coming up in January. We do have a firm list for January.
Not going to reveal it yet.
We have no idea on February and beyond, but that's part of the magic.
But that's okay.
Yeah. We thank you very much for listening. You can find all of our back episodes at the podbaydorspodcast.wordpress.com. You can listen to us on iTunes and YouTube. Hit the like, subscribe, and notification buttons on there. Follow us on Twitter at pod_bay. Copy and paste that over on Patreon, and that is our handle there as well. We thank you again so very much for listening, and the Pod Bay doors are now closed.
The mission has been completed.
Me and my baby been on the run so very long. Her folks sent a man to get us. They say we've done wrong. So we run, yeah we run.